Oh man. If I had $1 for every time someone in our family said, "That's just how we are."
You could probably afford the therapy we all need.
Exactly. Like, what even is family? Is it DNA, guilt trips, matching t-shirts at Disney?
Nah. Dude, family is the people who love you enough to roast you publicly, but would also bail you out when your ex shows up at brunch.
This week, we're talking about how weird, wonderful, and wildly different family can look. Yep, even the chosen kind.
Because let's be real, sometimes your real family is the group chat that you actually do reply to. Hello and welcome back to another edition of Adulthood is a Project, the show where two sisters discuss lessons learned and growth earned through the realities of life. I'm Charlie, and you all know my sister Casey, and we're your hosts.
In today's episode, we will discuss family relationships. We will also discuss the ins and outs of the different roles and how they might look different to others. Let's get started.
Family relationships. Okay, so you gotta start with some quiz time.
And okay, so you're asking me the questions, right?
Yeah, it's my turn to ask, and let's see how you do. I think last time you got 3 out of 5, so you got some work to do this time. Just saying.
Okay. I'm just gonna bring in Mama Tried.
Fair. Fair. But I did get that 5 out of 5 once, so I'm still gonna take that win because I finally got you. You started that though, so okay. So this week, I did things a little differently, and I'm making them true or false questions.
Okay.
Okay, because the family one was some of these are like we were saying, some are a little harder to do than others. So, but I've got your winner button ready because I got faith in you.
Baby, 545. Here I come.
Okay. All right. True or false? The term blended family was first used in 1972.
Um, uh, True.
Yeah, that one actually surprised me. I thought it was a newer term. It turns out they originally used it for couples of mixed races.
Oh, you know what's funny is I was trying to think of like when was the Brady Bunch on TV? Because I feel like that was maybe like
Oh,
people's first experience with like a blended family.
you know what? I think it was. Yeah, I think it probably was. Carol and Mike really set the stage for everyone. Okay. True or false? 3-generation households are common in many Asian cultures.
True.
Yeah, yeah. Grandparents often I think they, yeah. With the grandparents live with the adult children. They take care of, I think, a lot of the child rearing parts, so the parents can go to work
Yeah.
in those cultures. Yeah,
I feel like that was kind of
yeah.
an easy one. Because we talked about that in like a previous episode, in our ancestry episode, I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We did. You're right. You're right. Okay. Okay. True or false? Step families make up the majority of families in the United States.
I mean, I think true.
False. It said, like step families are common, but the majority is still traditional like the nuclear, what I did not know they called it a nuclear family, but mom and dad and single parent families still lead.
Single parent, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you're 2 for 3. I don't know if my math isn't mathing over here today. I'm like, hold on a second, 2 for 3. How many questions did I ask? Okay. All right. True or false? About 1 in 3 kids in the United States will live in a step-parent household before they turn 18.
Okay. 1 in 3. False.
It's true.
Yeah, okay, because we
The
just
estimate suggests that that it was still the nuclear family was number 1. But they said that it's still around 30% of children will spend part of their childhood in the step family structure.
go.
I This is why it makes it so hard to define what a damn family is.
Right?
All right, you're 2 for 4. Let's see if you can come through here, okay?
Right.
Let's finish strong. All right, I got faith in you. True or false? Some cultures believe aunts and uncles have specific moral duties in raising children.
I'm gonna say true.
All right, there you go. Okay. Yeah, but African and Pacific Islander cultures, where they say extended families like expected to help raise and discipline children.
Yeah. I love handing out that discipline.
I mean, I could have totally gotten down with a few butt beatings.
Nieces and nephews, beware. Here come these hands.
Yeah, the pimp hand coming out. All right, so you got 3 out of 5, so it's not horrible.
Fine. I'm still a winner, I think. Right?
Yeah, I still consider that winning. You got more right than wrong. That's all that matters. You're still a winner in my book.
That's what matters.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Dude, yeah. It was funny even coming up with those questions because as we were talking about, with families and family relationships, they look so different to everyone.
Yeah.
And it was kind of hard coming up with those questions because I think every family does stuff so differently.
Right. Well, you know what's funny is, so even when it's like your turn to do the quiz, I will kind of think about, oh, what kind of quiz questions would I try to come up with? Because I try to get myself prepared. Because I'm like, what might she quiz me on? And in my mind, for some reason, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I think I would do famous families, like famous family connections or something like that.
Oh, dude, seriously, you have some of the best ideas. Maybe you should have shared those with me because
So then
that would have been fun, dude.
I was trying to be all like, who's that mother-daughter singing duo? And I was all like, what?
Oh my God. Dude, that would have been great. All right. Would have been a lot better than my questions, honestly.
So, no, I liked your question.
I'm not the brains of operation, listeners. I'm just here for the comic relief. We rely on Casey for the ideas. That's it. I might make you next time it's my quiz turn. I'll be like, dude, tell me what I'm looking up, okay?
What should I quiz you about?
Do my homework for me.
Man, oh man.
Oh, geez.
Families though, like they're so I kind of what got us thinking about this particular episode was and it's been a few weeks back, but Father's Day had just passed. And to me,
Right.
Father's Day is such a weird day for me. Because, I mean, well, I did just get back from a trip seeing our dad for the first time in, 16 years?
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
he got to meet his grown grandchild. Um, so yeah.
Like, hey, Dad.
It, uh,
I
weird.
there would have been a little piece of me being like, I hope I recognize him. There's some pretty specific looks in our family, though. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, he
yeah,
looks just like always. Um, but yeah, I mean, dads are just weird, right?
they are to me like, well, and I don't want to not acknowledge like we have. You guys have all seen us talk about our not Garrett.
Oh, no, it's Garrett.
Oh, um, he's great, right? Like honestly, he is. But he didn't. When would he have come into our? We would have been like 13, I think.
I was like, yeah, 10, 11. So I would have been like 10, 11.
Right. However, good time to maybe point out in our family how age doesn't matter. Our stepdad's closer to my age than he is our mother's age.
Right.
So it was
Our mom was
it
the
wasn't
original cougar.
yeah. She sure was. Get him, Mom.
Wow.
Oh shit. So I think that, it's not that I don't call him on Father's Day, talk to him, usually find some really fun little silly gifts. I find some pretty funny stuff for him actually. Um are good stuff. Sometimes it's thoughtful, sometimes they're just the last few years have been a little bit on the funny side for me. Uh like he's a great guy.
Right.
However, at the time he came in our lives, like we had our dad who was about to really at that point was not really around a ton.
Right.
And then
Well,
he was there, but I don't know. It wasn't like a father figure. I mean, it's not like he was trying to take over our dad's role anyway.
yeah. But, well, okay. Also, though, now, listeners, our dad was quite a bit older than our mom. And
Right.
and so we have older siblings that are our stepdad's age. So it's like, oh,
Oh
it's like a
yeah.
big brother running around over here.
Yeah. For real. When we were like, oh man, we have to explain our family. I'm like, listen, that's our thing. Our big motto. Our family just doesn't acknowledge age.
We don't. We don't.
We're like, it just kind of is what it is. Like we don't acknowledge it because we just don't see that in our family. age, age is just a level. It's just a number.
Just a number. Oh man.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
yeah, when we think of, I mean, I have a friend, I mess with him sometimes, but I swear he's like, man, my dad's my best friend. And I'm like, are you trying to make me jealous that I don't have a relationship with my dad and you do?
Oh.
I didn't mean that. I'm like, I'm just kidding. I literally am kidding. It's not a big deal. Because we do. We got a cool stepdad, so I'm down. Like, it's fine. But it cracks me up when I hear people say, like, my dad's my best friend. I'm like, that must be really strange.
Right. You know, and
'Cause as you said, you hadn't seen him in 15, 16 years. I haven't talked to him in like 5 or 6.
right. I do still talk like okay, and this all I tell you what though, like on our visit, what's that I told you he had that random conversation with me where I'm like, I think that was just what he thought dads do. Because he's like, yeah, once I left your mom, I mean, I still gave her some money for you guys and let you know I'd be there by phone, but yeah, I'm like,
Right.
yeah. No, he was a truck driver, so I mean,
But, well, okay. That leads into the discussion of grandparents. Like we find grandparents weird. I try to picture like what his parents would have been like to him.
oh yeah.
Right. Like what was their role in his life that taught him how to be a dad?
Ew.
Uh-huh. So, and so on our mother's side, we have one. I met our grandpa. I have that one little memory of him with me eating watermelon when I would have been 4,
Free.
3 or 4, 3, and then he passed away. And our mom's mom was already gone before we were here, like before we were born. So we don't know. We know her family. We just don't know like them. We don't know grandparents on that side.
Right.
And then we have our dad's parents who,
Well,
whatever.
they weren't cool, man. They definitely.
No,
I
they
mean,
weren't.
I've heard grandparents are cool. I just didn't experience that.
No. But you know what? When Big G's parents, when he came along and his parents, like, they're pretty fun, man. They go on the farm and go out with them. Like,
Oh yeah.
what do we do? I wouldn't say herding cows. That's not right. I can't think of what we were doing, but we had to bring some cows in and we're out there like having a weenie roast and
Oh
spending the
yeah.
night and playing ping pong in the basement. So that was fun.
Yeah. It was good. I think
Granted, I don't think they knew what to do with a bunch of teenage girls all of a sudden.
I will say though, like it's always one of those things too, where like, so for me with my kids, now my kids also kind of think like dads are weird. Um, I remember at one point explaining to them because we had a friend who was like, her son had to get home to go spend some time with his dad. My kids were just like, what? I mean, what are you talking about? Like, it's a scheduled time. Like, what's happening? I'm like, oh no, kids, I think that's probably the norm. Like, just because those parents are divorced, the kid still spends time with both of them. I know that's not what happened to you, but oh man.
Your kid's like, wait, people see their dad on a regular basis? You're like, I don't know how any of this works, guys.
No. Like, I think so. I think that's what happens. But I will say though, as far as
According to the TV shows.
yeah, as far as grandparents go though, my kids, I mean, they lucked out, right? Like my awesome grandparents on both sides. Really, they do.
For sure.
And
For sure. I would absolutely agree with that.
they both have a grandparent that they would say, that's my best friend. So
That's crazy.
it
That's cool. I'm jealous. Man, I don't want to use the word jealous because it like has a negative connotation, but you know, I'm envious of that maybe. I don't know. Like I think that's super cool.
right. And it was funny though, as kind of I had to kind of laugh at them a while back because they're both adults, and so I kind of said something. I said, "Man, you guys, like, it is wild to me. You're both adults, and all of your grandparents are still alive. Like, what is happening here?" And Sonny Boy looked at me. He's like, "Well, I think it's really weird that you're an adult and your dad's still alive." So I'm like, touche, buddy, touche.
That's fair enough. Well, you know, I don't want to not touch on the fact that we don't think moms are weird because ours has just always been in our life.
Right.
So having a mom is normal, right? Like, that's not weird.
That's
But having, well, different respects of what you see a mother being, though, right? Like, that can be like, what are you talking about? I don't know.
right. Yeah.
I
Oh.
mean, granted, oh, I was going to say, like, my relationship with mom has changed so much as I've gotten older.
Oh yeah.
I mean, her and I chit chat about all kinds of stuff.
I think that's a natural process, though. I mean, like as far as like parents and kids or whatever, because well, okay, so I have stepkids. I got stepkids running around everywhere. Um, and so one of them had told me the other day, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, she was on one of her drunk calls. And she's like,
Oh, man. Mom used to love those when she got them from me.
yeah, mom's loved them. But she's like, I don't know,
Yeah, I think so.
why you hated me. I'm like, didn't hate you. Like, I was trying to be a parent. I didn't think certain things were appropriate that you were doing. And she's like, but now you're okay with them? I'm like, right, you're an adult now. So now when you do those things, you're an adult. When you're doing them previously, you were a child and it wasn't okay. Oh man. But it's kind of funny.
Like, to think about all those different, you know, relationships that you have within families and how everyone's are so different, honestly. Like, what we view as family for us, most people would be like, listen, that's, yeah. And so, when we had that conversation on our happy hour episode with our mom, we're like, we have to explain our family for multiple reasons, but I'm just, one of them is definitely explaining, like, wait, hold on, how are you related with those people? But those people, I'm like, listen, it's just, don't worry about it. It's fine. And then you take on, as you said, you got adult stepchildren
Right.
and you're a Gigi yourself,
I am.
you know?
I think it's so funny because I'm the youngest of us kids, but I was the first one to become a grandparent.
Yeah.
Woo! Oh.
Wildlife.
But also, I
That
think
happens when you get with old dudes.
it is what happens. But, and then you kind of kick them to the curb but keep the kids around.
Yes, that's it. Definitely got the better end of the deal there.
I think so.
Keep the kids for sure.
We grew up in a house full of girls.
Yes, we did.
And so we just talk about our periods and all that kind of stuff. We just do. And the flower child told me how she thinks it's so weird that we're just so open and talk about our periods. And that's when it dawned on me, like, she was only raised in a house with Sonny Boy. And it turns out that her and her brother don't just sit around and chat about her periods.
Weird. I wonder why not.
I guess he's not interested in her flow. I don't know.
He's like, I do not want to hear about your monthly cycle.
Oh gosh. I think though, like, there is a little reminder to ladies, like, listen, even if he grew up with sisters, he probably still doesn't want to hear about your monthly visitor.
I think it would depend on how many sisters you might have grown up with. If you just had one, probably not. But if you had two or three, probably, dude.
Maybe.
Like, I'm sure if you grew up with, okay, say you grew up with three sisters in the house, and your mom's probably still in her prime at that point. I guarantee there was a week out of every month that kid knew something wasn't right. That boy would be, assuming they were in a nuclear family, that boy would look at the dad look at the son and be like, son, listen, We go to the garage all week.
It's garage
And
week.
whatever your mom cooks, it tastes delicious.
Oh gosh. Oh,
Granted, I'm making that stereotype, but I mean, I will say we each have, those first few days or sometimes the days before can be really frustrating sometimes. So there really is something behind that. So it's definitely, I would say because, okay, look
I feel
at
like I'm pure joy to be
what,
around no matter what.
yeah, same, Obvi. I don't know why anyone would want to avoid me for any period of time, ever. I was thinking, okay, so when we were growing up, we hit points where we always seemed to have someone extra living with us,
Oh yeah.
right? So you had us three, an extra sister in there, and our mom. So there's five of us for a few years in there, and Gary definitely knew what was going on.
No. No way.
He's probably more versed in periods than anyone. Because I remember going to the store in our teen years. I was embarrassed of it. And so I remember going to the store with mom, and mom's just like taking her hand and swiping it across the shelf of all the tampons, loading the cart up. And I'm like, oh, people are going to know. It's like, Charlie, you're female.
Oh my god.
But to stay on the family subject, though, I was going to say, so those girls live with us, like, they were like family.
Yeah.
Because they just lived with us, and that was what it was, too. So we opened our home up in that respect where, oh, yeah, sure, you're family. Come on in. It's fine.
Yeah. I You made me think of a story though. So like again, our dad was a truck driver. And so sometimes during the summer or whatever we would go out on the truck with him like for a couple weeks, right? And so I think I was 13 and I was out on the truck. And you know when you're 13 like you don't always know. You don't you don't know how
Yeah.
to keep track of your period and stuff. And so there I am on the truck with dad, and it's go time. And I'm already so embarrassed, right? Because I have to tell dad.
Oh, God bless it. Oh, I can't imagine.
So then, when we go into the store, it was like a whole announcement to the. We need to get some pads. I think she likes the flappy wing ones. And I was just like, oh my god.
Listeners, our dad is not a quiet man.
And he's like, right, Katie? You want the airplane wings? And I was like,
My God.
uh-huh. I was so embarrassed. I was dying. Luckily, the cashier was a lady. Like, I feel like she took some sympathy for me. Because she's just staring at me, and I'm like,
She probably did.
I'm dead, right? Dad's screaming about pads in the store. And I'm just like, oh my god, please. Please just get them and let's leave.
Which is funny, growing up in a house full of women, like, why did we not have a better understanding? And I don't know. The things you learn in family.
Oh man. Well, that was a good time.
That would have been really embarrassing. I can only imagine 100% honest God. Hey, that's why some people choose to create their own families.
Oh god. Yeah.
They're like, this shit show? I don't think so. I'm going to.
I'm out.
Yeah. I'm gonna make my own.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just, like I think about when we were gonna start this, when we talked about doing this episode too. You and I were laughing about how different we view being an aunt is.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For me, and I've said it multiple times, I do believe, but it seriously is probably one of the biggest joys of my life. Like I love being an aunt. I think I was made for this, or I'm telling myself I was. I don't know. Um, I feel like as much as I, wanted kids back in the day and it didn't work out, whatever, I look at my life now and I'm like, oh man, I make a really good aunt and I enjoy being an aunt and I love chatting with the kids. And I say kids, they're all adults now, honestly. They're still kids to me. And I just got to enjoy a bunch of that stuff. Like I got to have fun with them and do the silly stuff. And I don't know, it's fun. Whereas you don't view being an aunt the same way I do
Yeah.
because you have kids.
Well, and I think our kids, they were so close together in age. Well, not the older ones. Obviously, the older ones. So the first time I became an aunt, I was 10. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I was still a kid.
Yeah. We've been an aunt. I've been an aunt my entire life almost.
Right. So, 3/4 of our lives, we've already been aunts.
Yeah.
And with those older ones, I was probably a little more fun, right? And it wasn't until I had kids of my own that then I started being probably a little more parenty, you know?
But the younger nieces and nephews are like looking at the older ones going, what do you mean she's fun, Aunt Casey? Like, ugh, she's a raging bee.
She's a total bee. We hate her. The older ones are like,
The older two are like, what? She's so fun.
no. I'm sure that every last one of my nieces and nephews have catched a pop from Aunt Casey at least once in their lives.
There.
Yeah. But I know I'm more the disciplinarian one. I'm meaner.
I mean, I'd say I've popped a butt or two. Can't think of specific times. I've definitely done some yelling, but I feel like I was more in a general sense, I was more on the fun side. Also, I've definitely been used as the like, this is why we don't do that, kids, because you're going to end up like Aunt Charlie.
Oh God. I also think though it makes me laugh because I think how we make the joke, listeners, that she's my kid's daddy.
Yeah, we do.
As old Jaybird was at one of his camps whenever I was pregnant with the flower child. And so Daddy Charlie moved in and helped out.
Yeah.
And so then we've also always teased the flower child that she's really her mom and stuff. And I just took over.
Because I didn't want the responsibility of kids. I did always think that being an aunt would have made me pretty good at being a step parent at some point in my life too. It didn't work out, obviously, but I'm just saying.
And
I think of the roles kind of similarly.
Yeah, I mean, step parenting though. I've step parented for a long time, and I step parented before I was ever a parent.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
And that's always like it's a tricky thing to play, right? Because
Tricky.
Ah! But
Ah.
I mean, because you are that adult in their lives and you love them, but also their parents
Right.
are the ones that have the rules for them, and you may not parent the same way that their parents, and it's not your choice because that's not your kid.
Fair.
So,
I was giggling because I thought, you know what? I do that managing when I'm at work. Like, now listen, when you're on my shift, you can totally do this. I cannot speak for any other manager, and you need to do whatever they're telling you to do. But on my shift, this can totally be fine. Oh my God, probably would have done that as a step parent. Listen, when you're under my watch and your dad's not here, I got you. Don't say a word. I mean, shit, I did it as an aunt. I'm like, you guys, that does not bother me. Now, if your mom asks, I mean, there were a few times like, Mom said we can do this for breakfast. I'm like, that does not seem right to me, but you know what? Sometimes I'd be like, all right, screw it, let's do it. Other times, like, I'm going to call your mom and find out, and she's going to tell me the truth.
do you want me to call your mom? My kids be like, no.
Please don't. Other times, I'm like, I don't see why ice cream and popcorn can't be considered dinner. Let's do it. Mom would say no. Well, your mom's not here, is she? Hey, yo. There's probably a happy medium in there.
Yeah. I'm not that kind of aunt, and I'm not that kind of step parent.
Yeah, well,
I'm kind
hey,
of
what can I say? I'm the fun one.
I'm such a strict, and it's so funny because somebody just said something to me the other day at work because I said I was blah 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 blah, and they're like, "Dude, you run a tight ship, don't you?" And P.S. Sunny Boy and the Flower Child right now both work at the same restaurant I work at, and everybody's like, "No, after meeting your kids, we know that you run a tight ship because they like." They just do what they're supposed to do, and I'm like, yeah, they do.
Damn right. Taught him to be that way.
So, but
well, I don't want to go. Kind of watching the time a little. I didn't want to go too far over, but we didn't even touch on the fact of how family can also involve in-laws after a divorce or something.
Oh yeah.
And maybe that we can touch briefly on that a little bit. But I know you and I both have that circumstance.
Oh yeah.
For ourselves.
Absolutely. Jaybird's family, I've always kept in touch, and his dad and I talk a lot. So I think that's what this.
Did you shoot him a Father's Day message when it was Father's Day?
Oh yeah, always.
So I did the same with my ex-father-in-law. I'm like, hey, happy Father's Day. I would have met him for a drink, but he's not in town right now.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, no, he always gets a text from me, and we talk so much. It's kind of crazy. And I know, like, even Big J said something to me whenever him and I first started dating, because he, like, I'd been on the phone with Jaybird's dad, and then we hung up, and he's like, who is that? And I'm explaining it to him. He's like, this kind of weird. I was like, I don't know what's weird about it. Like, of course.
Is it?
Why wouldn't we talk all the time?
You're like, wait, you're saying you wouldn't? Like, what are you talking about? And even on my road trip, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna swing through here, and I'm going through where I just called my brother lives, and I swung by there and made sure we stopped by. We were able to meet up for lunch, hang out, that kind of thing. Like, it just, we were talking about you kind of sometimes build your own family, or it comes along because of certain things, right?
Yeah.
That you kind of make family work how you need it to work for you.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually, I mean, I'm thinking how much, like, Jaybird's dad and I talk, like, This is one of those things where, honestly, so if it gives you any clear idea how much we talk and how normal it totally is, him and I had already talked on the phone in one day. We had already spoken to each other probably 5 times that day. Now that's not a normal day, but it wasn't.
That's excessive.
It was one of those excessive days where I'm just like, oh my
Listen,
goodness. And so when he called
that
again,
man can talk.
and um, so when my phone rang again, and it's like the 6th time, I'm like, good Lord. And but that was the day that he called, whenever Jaybird passed away. So when he called that 6th time, but I was just like, oh my goodness. Of course I answered though. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, no, really, we do have to talk this time. But yeah, like that's how much we talk. It wasn't like one of those like, oh, it's weird that he's calling for a 6th time today.
You're just like, oh, here we go. You're like, what did he forget at this point?
It was.
What has he not possibly shared with me today?
Like, whoa, we are on one today, aren't we, buddy?
Yeah. I think we'll wrap it up just time wise or whatnot, because like, man, talk about family. We can, especially as you listeners can kind of hear, like ours is a little, we're all over the place. We're okay with it though. Like I think it's awesome to have that many people in your life that care about you.
Yeah, you know what I'm always say, like, the more people to love my kids and pour into them, better, right? The more people to pour into you and love on you, why get rid of it? Doesn't make any sense.
Yes, absolutely. So our lesson learned and growth earned on this one is family looks different to all of us depending on how we were raised. So enjoy the family you have and don't take on the societal pressure to feel or act a certain way about family members. Know yourself, be grateful for the family you have and or the family you have created for yourself.
In our next episode, we'll explore communication styles. You're going to get our hot take on it. Thanks for listening. Until next time, go out there and be your favorite self.
If you're enjoying what you hear, be sure to leave a review. It'll help others to find us. And make sure to follow on your favorite listening platform to catch all our future episodes.